All right, rock and roll. Here we are. Scorched Earth podcast for Saturday, February 22nd, 2025. Thank you for listening. And if you could, please hit that subscribe and like button. Really appreciate it. Leave some comments. Tell me I'm great. I really could use it. It's been a long week. On the other side, super producer Stacy is kind of working out the final details, so we're going to be able to start interviewing people, hopefully, especially on the sports side. But hopefully, I can get a couple people in here. I know a couple union leaders. I know some other civic activists. I'd really like to get their opinion. I think it'll make for a better podcast. That's coming soon. No pressure, Stacy. Don't you fret about it. You know, nothing like just a normie like me ramping up that tension for somebody who's got a little OCD. God bless her. But this wouldn't be here without her, and I thank her for it every day. All right, we're off and running, taking no prisoners, telling no lies. You may have noticed if you've been to the supermarket that, hey, prices aren't going down like you said. Maybe I'm just shopping at the wrong supermarket, right? The average price of eggs on Friday is now $8.03 per dozen, up from, wait for this, a previous price of $7.74 per dozen on February 14th. Wow. That's a week. Okay. Don't worry about that 4% jump in a week. Yeah. Now, this isn't just John. You know, we're going to do our supermarket update next week. Don't you fret about that, young ones. But this is by the USDA's Egg Market Overview. Couldn't even tell you what that is. You know, it's funny. When prices go up under Biden, we got to get rid of the cat. You know, him and all his ilk. When they go up under Trump, I guess that's just the price of fascism. All right. Nothing to see here except higher prices. And I wonder to myself, how is he going to get the prices down? How do prices ever come down? I'm not going to get into it on this podcast, but deflation is incredibly politically and economically unstable. It rattles the bond markets. It rattles Wall Street. It doesn't work well when prices start to decline, and they really never do. I mean, when is the last time that things went up and then later they came down significantly? I'm not talking about, my pistachio ice cream goes up to $3.99 and then, they have some digital deal and it goes down to $3.59 for a week and goes back up. No, I mean, like gas. Gas here in Southern California has went up 20%. Or 20 cents, excuse me. When Trump came into office, it was about $3.95. Now it's about $4.15. How come he's not getting the price of gas down? I thought that was his big thing. He had all the oil companies are his buddies, along with big tech, along with big pharma. Can you say corruption? Well, you can't spell corruption without Trump. Actually, you can, but I don't. All right. I'm sure you all know, but Friday night, I love my water. Friday night is the slowest news night in the the political news ecosystem. And basically the reason is everybody's tired from their work week. They're tired of all the BS. They're getting ready for the weekend. They're doing their thing. Friday night, they go out, they have a drink, they have a cocktail, they get some dinner. They do stuff with the family. They are not watching the news. They're not. Nobody cares, right? It is funny that the Trump political machine has done a lot of devious and heinous things on Friday night. They fired the 13 inspector generals on Friday night, hoping it would just not make it to the news cycle on Sunday morning when they rev back up. Well, seems like we got a busy night here for the Trump administration. Seems like a lot of people were getting fired. Back in the day when Nixon was under assault with the Watergate process and his criminality, there was the Saturday night Massacre, where he fired Special Prosecutor Archibald Cox and assorted other officials who were trying to uncover his shenanigans and crimes that he was later pardoned for by Ford, a Republican. I guess Trump's really learned from that. So Friday night, Trump fired the top U.S. general and Navy chief in an unprecedented purge of military leadership. All right, here we go. It's going to get good here. Trump announced the firing of Chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, Charles Q. Brown, replacing him with Air Force Lieutenant Dan Raisin Kane, an extraordinary move because Kane was retired. Also, Kane wasn't even a four-star general. And I look back, I couldn't find a Joint Chiefs of Staff head that was less than a four-star general. I don't know for a fact, but I went back like 40 years. I couldn't find it. Now, I'm not saying it hasn't happened, but wow. Usually, I know we all know, you know more than I do. You work up the ranks, 1 star, 2 star, 3 star, 4 star, and then 5 is the ultimate, right? And usually they get 4 star and above because it says that you've been seasoned, you have a vast military experience, you've done administrative, you've done a lot of different things, that the head of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, which basically is the conglomeration of generals and admirals and very highly decorated military personnel who basically run the military force. Now, I understand we have a defense secretary, Pig Hegseth. He deals with, quote unquote, supposedly the civilian side, and they interact together, creating budgets, figuring out priorities, things like that. But they work in concert with each other. No, not anymore. It looks like we're fighting with them. There's a little infighting going on here, right? So I'm wondering, I don't want to say anything because I really don't know, but that's not going to stop us here on Scorched Earth. I'm wondering if, this Dan Raisin Kane, who's been retired, I wonder if he's been hanging out with that other traitor, Michael Flynn, the guy who is the Russian envoy, and he was the national security advisor until it was discovered he was a Russian envoy, and then he was fired. But then, of course, he was pardoned by Trump. Yeah, nothing to see here. Nothing to see here. I want you to look away the other way. I want you to look over there and blame Biden. Yeah. I can't wait till we find out this is Biden's fault. But you know what? We are. Pig Hegseth that's going to talk soon. Trump, on his Truth Social post Friday night, finally, I've directed Secretary Hegseth to solicit nominations for five additional high-level positions, which will be announced soon. Well, minutes later, Pig Hegseth released a statement announcing he had fired Admiral Lisa Franchetti, which was the chief of the Navy. Give you a little backstop. Charles Q. Brown is a black individual, okay? Trump has talked about how he wants to get, quote-unquote, woke out of the military. So they fired this black general. Seems pretty qualified to me. They fired this lady who, believe me, if you are a lady and you can make it through the military with the history of sexual harassment and all the assorted other effed up stuff that happens to women in the military and in life in general, let me tell you, you're probably tougher than any of the guys there. Okay? Those guys are PW'd compared to you. I got a feeling this Lisa Franchetti, I'd go to war with her. Forget all these other guys they're replacing her with. I bet you this chick. God, I'm such an idiot, right? This lady, this accomplished lady, I'm getting so worked up here with all this misogyny. I'd go to battle with her because I bet you she is 50 times, well, not 50, but quite talented, versus these other guys who are replacing her. Look. They're all talented people, okay? Some may be more talented than others, but I'm telling you right now, this lady had to be super talented to get to the position she was in. She didn't get it because she's a lady. I don't really care what that is. She met all the requirements. She had to deal with all the BS. I bet you if we got her in a private interview and there was no repercussions and we said, were you ever sexually harassed? I think the word yes would come out multiple times. But let's just move on. Yeah. So Pig Hegseth called Franchetti a DEI hire in his 2024 book, which he wrote. I'm sure he had plenty of co-writers because it doesn't seem like Pig Hegseth can really write or do anything coherent. He says, if naval operations suffer, at least we can hold our heads high because at least we have another first, the first female member of the Joint Chiefs of Staff. Hooray. How did this guy get through the Senate confirmation hearings? How did women senators vote for this guy? This came up in the hearings. Nothing to see here. Yeah. Don't worry about it. He's disparaging women. You know, wow, what kind of discrimination is that? Just because you're a woman, they think, oh, you're not qualified. Let me give you a little info. All the wars in the history of this country have been started by men. Men. Unfortunately, in the last election, we had a chance to elect a qualified lady to be the president. You know, we're coming up on 250 years. In this term, we're gonna celebrate our 250th anniversary. What does it say about our country? We've never had a woman leading it. We've had one black individual who was stoic, who was great, who was talented. We have never had a woman. Hillary Clinton got the most votes in 2016. Sorry. That racist electoral college stopped you. Sorry, honey. You know, you can go on Howard Stern. Good luck. Kamala Harris, all right, she lost. You know, we're not sitting here rioting at the Capitol. You know, okay, we lost. You know, she couldn't overcome the inflation. She couldn't overcome some of the bad baggage with Joe Biden, but I think she's a noble lady, and I got a feeling in 2 years she's going to be our governor in California. So getting back to this question that I'm debating, and I want you to ponder, how come white men get a pass when bad stuff happens? Okay? Did I ever see in the succeeding time after 9/11 that it was white men who effed up at the switch? That it was George Bush? That it was Dick Cheney? That it was Donald Rumsfeld? Didn't hear nothing. Nah, didn't hear nothing. Nah. Terrorists just somehow made their way through. Wonder why there wasn't congressional hearings on that. You know? Oh, well, the Republicans control Congress, so I guess we don't need time to do that. You know? Let's find that voter fraud. And let's talk about that for a second. I have somebody I communicate with all the time, and she is adamant that the 2020 election was rigged. Okay. James Comer in the House 2 years ago, when the Republicans took it back, started a committee and an investigation on the 2020 election fraud. Hasn't come up with anything yet. Now the Republicans have the White House, the Senate, the House, the DOJ, the CIA, the FBI. It's an alphabet soup out there. Let's see. Let's see the evidence now. You've got all the levers. We got nothing. Show me the fraud. Or at least admit that you're lying mother effers. Okay? Waiting for that 10 minutes, Stacy. I'm waiting for that 10 minutes. So Hegseth then said that General James Slyth, the vice chief of the Air Force, and for her nomination to replace her, and that he is also requesting nominations. Maybe he can get those nominations at his next Klan meeting or his counseling session for maybe some of his domestic abuse charges he's had in the past. I don't know. You know, Pig, think outside the box, you know? Friday night, Trump said Cain was a warfighter who was instrumental in the complete annihilation of the ISIS caliphate. Okay. ISIS still exists. Okay, it morphed, but it still exists in the Middle East. It's in Syria. It's in Iran. I thought we were going to get rid of it all. Huh. Wow, that's weird. It's actually, they're reporting it's still in Iraq. Huh. Well, that's weird. I guess Trump didn't get that memo. Or maybe he wasn't able to read it. Yeah. Oh, signs and wonders. So, in the military, there's a thing called JAG. They used to have that really good TV shows, JAG. Lindsey Graham, the senator from South Carolina, used to be a JAG. That's a Judge Advocate General. And they're the military's top lawyers, right? And they administer the military code of justice, including defending and prosecuting U.S. service members in military court. In his book, Hegseth, called "They Just Fired the Head of the Jags." Let's get that out, okay? That just happened Friday night. He called Hegseth in his book called Jags Jagoffs. Oh, he's so witty. He's so witty. Okay. He also said it would be a JAG officer who put his or her own priorities in front of the war fighters. So you're telling me like a DA, when they're prosecuting criminals, is putting his own political career, his own ambitions ahead of the better good for the country or the county or whatever he's representing? Yeah. So these military generals, I wish they could ask this to Lindsey Graham, who was a former JAG. Did you put your own political career ahead of justice? I wonder how that answer would come out. Probably not too well, but then again, he's part of the Trump cuckold. All right, let's talk about blackmail. Yeah, it's not just for your favorite movie or TV series. It's also a big part of the Trump administration. No, we're not talking about the infamous P video that Trump supposedly had in a Moscow hotel room. That was the rumor. It was never substantiated, but supposedly he peed on some prostitutes, Russian military, Russian intelligence supposedly had videos of him, and the rumor was in his first administration they used that to blackmail him. Well, we've moved on from that. Okay, whether it's true or not, I don't know. But if you know Trump, is it really outside the laws of believability? No. I'd be surprised if he didn't. But okay, whatever. I mean, what's the difference? He's pissing on the U.S. now. All right. So the U.S. is talking to Russia and Saudi Arabia about what we're going to slice and dice with Ukraine. All right. So U.S. negotiators on the minerals deal threatened to cut Ukraine's access to Starlink, which provides internet access. Starlink is owned by Elon Musk. They provide internet access to most of the Ukrainian people and to the military, so in their war with Russia. So now we're playing hardball, and the negotiator is saying that they may have to end this Starlink access. All right, putting the squeeze on them. Looks like Trump and Musk are up trying to blackmail Zelensky into a deal. Okay, this guy, if you ever watch Star Wars, where the gang goes into the trash compactor in the first episode, well, actually the fourth now, and they're in there and the walls start closing in, that's where Zelensky is, right? He's in there and there's a monster in there, and man, they're in some trouble. They're in some big effing trouble, right? So let's talk about the aid we gave to Zelensky. Trump keeps saying that he needs to pay us back for that aid. Okay? We gave $175 billion in aid to Ukraine. The European continent combined gave $200 billion. So it's not the 3-to-1 ratio that Trump says. Obviously, math wasn't his strong suit. Daddy got you the grades, right? Got you the tutor. So Trump says that needs to be paid back. Russia invaded Ukraine. Ukraine is an actual democracy where they actually vote, not like in Russia, where every 6 years Putin's up for re-election and gets 90% of the vote. It's a real thing. Zelensky is a very popular leader in his country. Polls are at about 75%. And I was wondering, because Trump says they have to pay us back. And I was wondering, how do I really look at that? And the closest scenario I could think of is, let's say you're in your house and you live here in America, and I'm getting worked up, people. I may look calm on the outside, but inside there's a raging volcano. It's coming. Hey, it's coming. So you're in your house, somebody breaks in, assaults you. Maybe kills somebody in your family, your dog, your cat, whatever, something that means something to you, threatens you, hurts you, physically hurts you. And then the police come and they arrest this person. They kind of put them in, they put them in a holding cell, whatever. And the police do the investigation. And then they bring it to the district attorney. Charges get filed. They don't get filed. Now, in this case, the criminal, which is Russia, the guy who assaulted you, the judge, who is Trump, decides, well, you know what? It's better if he's out on the street. He can make me more money. We can trade with him. No tariffs for Russia. So we're going to let him go. We're just going to let him walk. But the guy who got assaulted, the guy whose home got broken into, we're going to charge him. We're going to charge him for the detectives, for the police officers, for the ambulance, for the court administration, for the DAs. We're going to charge him. We're going to give that guy a bill. So we're giving the bill to Ukraine, who got invaded, who 1 million of their people were either killed or injured. We're giving them the bill. The bill isn't going to Russia. They get to trade with us again. Think about how absurd that is on every effing level. The invader, the perpetrator, the criminal got off. They got rewarded. They got to keep the vase they stole when they broke into your house. They got to keep the iPad. If you're selling an iPad, I'm interested. No, seriously though. Come on any level. Does that even pass the sniff test? Well, it does under the Trump administration. Christ's sake. All right. You know what? It's a bad week for me to go off my lithium. So White House, here, boy, this guy's a prince here. White House senior advisor and security advisor Mike Waltz. God, I'm hoping he doesn't have any relation to Tim Waltz, the great governor of Minnesota, said on Friday that the Ukrainian president Zelensky was expected to sign a minerals agreement with the U.S. as part of the broad negotiations to end the war in Russia. So what's going on is we are going to take the access, ownership, whatever this all ends up, of minerals in the eastern Ukraine, which are very valuable for computer chips, military parts, things like that, titanium, platinum, different assorted things. So Russia gets to keep the 20% of the land that they occupy in Ukraine. We get the minerals, and Ukraine gets the bill. What a wonderful world this is. Yeah. So, Mr. Waltz, I'm going to have to think of a nickname for this guy because I really do like Pig Hegseth, okay? I do like that. Here is the bottom line. President Zelensky is going to sign that deal. He said this Friday night. Wow. I wonder if he works for the Gambino crime family. President Zelensky is going to sign that deal, and you're going to see it in the very short term. All right. Put the gun to your head. Either your brains or your signature is going to be on the bottom line. I do also wonder, will Israel be getting a bill? What's the difference? We were defending democracy in Ukraine. We're defending it in Israel. We've been giving them billions of dollars forever. When are they getting a bill? When are they going to pay us back? Oh no, they're going to do the demolition on the Gaza Strip, and we're going to put Trump hotels up. I guess that's the payoff there, right? Waltz also said to Fox News that Zelensky needed to tone it down. Now, Zelensky the other day did say that Trump was living in a Russian disinformation zone. Obviously, that was bad. Of course, we don't talk about when Trump said that Ukraine invaded Russia. Yeah, okay, because that really happened. Rihanna attacked Chris Brown. Yeah, that's how it goes. Last week, Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent presented Zelensky with a proposal for the plan, with Ukraine providing, wait for this, $500 billion worth of rare elements to the U.S. We gave them $175 billion, and now we want $500 billion back in minerals. That inflation on that is going up about the same price as eggs. Doing good. Keep it consistent there, Trump. Trump also elaborated on Zelensky and the peace negotiations in a Fox News interview. I don't think Zelensky is very important to the meetings. The country that got invaded is not important to the negotiations to end the war. All right. And the final tally was Russia has 20% of Ukraine. U.S. wants minerals. Democracy suffers another blow under the Trump administration. All right. Let's get to odd things in the news. Trump's new Social Security head, Lisa Dudek, a Trumper, admits dead Americans aren't necessarily receiving Social Security checks. Now, Elon Musk and his boy band of Nazis have claimed that dead Americans listed as 150 years old or older are receiving Social Security payments. It's always funny when the Republicans say this stuff. We never get any names. It's just allegations. The Democrats have to always come up with names and facts and figures. Republicans just throw it against the wall, see what sticks. 150 years old. 150 years old. Somebody born in the 1800s is getting Social Security checks. Yeah, right. Let me ask you something. And take all this out of it. Have you ever had to deal with the government? Do you deal with any type of agency, disability, Social Security, food aid, anything like that? Do you notice the government just easily giving up money? I'll tell you my experience is, in most of the time, they try to do the right thing. Okay, they got protocol, they got procedures, but their default position is not to give you money. Okay, they have the money you want. They like to string you out. I was recently on some disability, and there was some chinks in the armor, right? There was a lot of times where I didn't get paid. I had to go down there and sit down there for 2 or 3 hours. And look, I'm not even bitching about that, because at least I had an avenue to rectify the problem. And then usually, this is how the conversation would always go. Oh, wow, I'm looking at your case. Yeah. Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah, you should have got paid. Oh, I've never seen this before. It's amazing. It's like if you're talking to the cable guy or you're talking to a government official, they've never seen anything like what you're dealing with. Okay. And then literally 5 minutes later, they go, okay, we're going to get you paid. Okay, that's cool. All right. Government isn't handing out free money. And I don't care what you think they're doing to immigrants or women or childcare or whatever that is. That is not happening. It's all BS. Okay? Let me tell you, the military wastes 10 times more money than we ever waste on kids, women, children, the people in this country, the elderly. No, just not happening. No way. No effing way. And you know what? If you're someone out there and the government's overpaid you, send me a comment. Tell me about it. Tell me how you stuck it to the man, because that's what it is. To the man, right? Yeah. I don't think I'm going to be getting anybody in that comment section, right? Social Security also says that the Musk allegation that people over 100 are receiving benefits, Lisa Dudek actually putting her neck out on the line again, said that that is not necessarily true either. That's code for F no. That is not going down. Okay? Of course, Lisa, you're the head of Social Security. I worry about you for next Friday night. It's nice knowing you. Maybe you can get a job somewhere else. All right. A top Trump immigration official, Tricia McLaughlin of Homeland Security, said that Caleb Vitello, acting director of immigration, was no longer in an administrative role. Boy, they get busy on Friday night. If every night was Friday night, we'd really get a lot done. The White House has expressed a lot of disappointment and dissatisfaction with the rate of deportation going on in this country. So it looks like Vitello was the head on the chopping block. He's gone on Friday. We're going to get somebody new. And in the final wrap-up here, Enrique Tarrio, we hardly knew you. One of two people, along with Rhodes, who was convicted of seditious conspiracy in the January 6th riots. He was pardoned by Trump for his crimes. He was doing 23 years. Was arrested on Friday night for assault after he had a rally at the site near the January 6th riots. Got to come back. Got to say your piece. God, what a country. What a country. A woman put out a cell phone. He hit and assaulted her, and he was arrested. All right. Tarrio was there at this rally to announce plans to sue the DOJ for his unlawful imprisonment. He tried to overthrow the government. He tried to stop the democratic pursuit of the fair election of Joe Biden being installed as the lawfully elected president. Yeah. Okay. Tarrio at the rally also called the rioters peaceful protesters. He was among 1,600 people who were pardoned by Trump. I still am angry at the DOJ or the DNC. Excuse me, it's late for not running Super Bowl ads and talking about the 1,600 people who were pardoned, because you know what? They were effing thugs. They were effing thugs. They tried to stop democracy. They were just as bad as the 9/11 people. They were probably worse. Okay, the 9/11 people, the World War II Nazis, the Japanese, the ones who were trying to take us down, they were doing the same thing, except they were homegrown. And F them and F them and F them. You know what I'd like to see? Put them all on a plane, deport them, put them back in Russia, put them back in China, put them somewhere, because they sure in the hell ain't an American to me. They didn't love this country. They wanted to overthrow it. They don't believe in democracy. F you. Middle finger to you, because you don't give a rat's ass. You just want a dictator in charge. Well, you're getting your wish. All right, if you could, that's all I got to say for today. I love y'all. Please hit the like and subscribe button. I appreciate the patronage, and I hope you have a really good Saturday. Peace out.